It's 5 p.m. in the afternoon. Welcome to it. It's Cape Town TV's Open Studio. Thank you so much for choosing us as your source of talk. My name is Lamamoon, and I'll be your host for the next half hour. It marks 7 years since Reeva Steenkamp died in the hands of her then boyfriend, Oscar Pistorius. Well, this is a fate that most young women face here in South Africa as well as worldwide. They died tragically in their hands and they are not protected. Well, there are some organizations that fight this femicide epidemic that we all need to get involved in. Siyilwe. Welcome to it. We hope that you are going to engage with us and let us know what you think about it. Natasha King is joining us at Pago Open Studio. She is Miss Timmy Taylor, Mrs. South Africa 2019. You were in the top 25, correct?
Yes.
And you decided to be part of the Reeva Rebecca Steenkamp Foundation.
Yes,
Why?
I decided to host a fundraiser in aid of the Reeva Rebecca Steenkamp Foundation because I am a woman that champions for the rights of women and children, and I believe that as a public figure it's my responsibility and it's a passion to actually make a difference in our country for all South Africans, but especially women and children, you know. And I think it's very relevant with the whole anti-femicide and the whole gender-based violence that we've experienced in South Africa, and the stats being that it's 4 times the global average. So it really, yes, it's a world problem, but even more so it's a South African problem. And I think it's too easy to leave the country. That doesn't change the problem and it doesn't address the issues. And I think if we want to change our country for the best for all of South Africans, we have to get involved.
June and Barry, parents to Reeva, started their foundation. What is the aim and goal of this foundation?
Sure. So the foundation is a registered non-profit organization that educates and empowers victims of abuse. It stands against violence and abuse across the board in any form, and it's abuse against men, women and children, okay? Because even though we don't hear of men being abused as much as we do women and children maybe, it still happens. So if you're going to stand against violence and abuse, you can't be excluding of anyone, you know? And what they do is they really empower their victims, giving them tools to find their self-worth again, to know they have the right to a safe environment, and to help them find the resources they need in order to get away from domestic violence or their situation. So the whole thing is about, and they believe that they can make a difference through education. So they provide educational programs as well. And yeah, basically it's all about empowering and educating both the victims and I think in general society so that we can address the problem, you know, because in order to resolve a problem, you first have to identify it as a problem, you know, so it stems from education.
It's ironic that Reeva died this way because she graduated and she was going to be an advocate against abuse of all forms. It's 7 years later now. Are we tackling the root causes of abuse, or are we just trying to stop abuse?
I think, you know, we are trying to address the root causes. I think we understand that you can't just put a plaster on a festered wound. You actually have to clean out the wound and fix it, you know, and get to the root cause. And I think that also comes from education, providing the means and necessary awareness around the issue. You know, I think a lot of gender-based violence comes down to lack of education and not enough good male role models for young men to look up to, you know. So I think those are the real issues that we need to address as a country, and that said, there are men that are standing aside women, you know, for this cause, and that's amazing. I think we need more men to do that, especially public figures. You know what I mean? I think even more so, public figures are held to a higher standard because you're setting the bar. You're the example they look up to. You
know. In a couple of weeks ago, a young man was murdered by his girlfriend, and the country is divided. Some say, since he's male, the public is not getting involved. There are not enough hashtags. They're not making any noise. They just say crime is a crime. When it's a man attacking women, then it's it's loud. So what's your take on that when a woman abuses a man, and this time he died in her hands?
You know, that's why I say, like I said before, I stand firmly against violence and abuse of any form against men, women, children. It doesn't matter whether you're an adult, a child, a male or female. Abuse and violence, I'm anti it across the board, you know, and I think we need people to rise up and come together against this. And I think even with the whole gender-based violence, you know, it was spoken about and it was so vocal when it was happening, and it's still an issue, but people have almost become indifferent to it. So they don't really talk about it as much anymore. I don't know if it's fear. I don't know if they've become apathetic because they think, oh, it was a problem that's been spoken about, let's leave it at that. But I think, you know, the minute we make it okay, these things carry on happening, you know, and I think you've got to really actively stand up and say, this is wrong, and it doesn't matter who you are, what your gender, etc., etc. What's wrong is wrong, and it is our responsibility to be the change. For me, I believe in being a voice for the voiceless and standing up for those that can't stand up for themselves, you know. And I don't think you can be exclusive. I don't think you can say that that's only with regards to women or only with regards to men or only children. It needs to be across the board. It needs to be addressed all as one.
Yeah, Natasha, you entered a beauty pageant. You could easily have chosen to be a brand ambassador for a makeup of some sort or a clothing range. I just want to find out why this particular course. And Reeva was a media personality, a model, and she advocated for this kind of cause. I want to know what her status did while she was still living, but we'll tackle those two questions after the break.
Sure.
We are on Open Studio on Cape Town TV on our Facebook account. Otherwise, you can call us on 021-448-0448. Natasha and Lama will be right back after the break. Don't go too far. This is Open Studio. The 7th anniversary of the death of Reeva Steenkamp, the historical fun run and walk and family day will be held later on this month, Feb, Castle of Good Hope. It's going to be a run that involves everybody, so come through in numbers so that you support this initiative. Imali ezobisenziwe phana, they're raising it and they're going to be putting it phana ke Foundation yakhona, so make sure that you do support. Still with me right now, Natasha King, who is an advocate for this foundation. Like I said earlier on before we went to an ad break, you could have done anything that is glamorous with your status, but you chose to be part of this initiative. Why?
Well, firstly, why can't you do both?
Yay.
That I put to you. I think it's, you know, you can look fabulous and do good at the same time.
Sure.
You know, you don't have to choose. But the nice thing for me, the Tammy Taylor Mrs. South Africa is not just a beauty pageant. It's a women empowerment and entrepreneurship program, okay? And what I love about that is it's for women like myself, I guess, that honestly want to make a difference in their country. For me, I want to be a generational influencer, you know, so I want to step up, be an example, be a role model for all South Africans, especially women and children. I want them to be able to look at me and say, if she can do it, I can do it, and that it is our responsibility to our fellow South Africans and our country to stand up and make a difference wherever we can.
Yeah, back to Reeva. Reeva was quite an advocate for, she was against abuse. How did she use her media personality to fight this?
I think it's pretty much the same way I'm using it. You know, I think when you are a public figure, you're given a platform where you can utilize your voice. And like I said previously, be a voice for the voiceless and stand up for those that can't. And because you're a public figure, you have more connections, you have more of a platform, you have more of influence, you know, and I think that's how you it's utilizing it to your advantage for the better. You know, for the better of the country, for the good of everyone, and just really, really, yeah, taking advantage of every opportunity you have, not only in terms of the media, but fundraising, going to events and being a spokesperson about these causes that are so worthy, and there's so many, but for me, this is one that's closest to my heart, you know, and I think it's so important to continue the work that Reeva was doing because, like you said, she was going to be an advocate, but she died a year before she could approach the bar.
Yeah.
And so I think, especially as women, it's important to keep her legacy alive. But in general, I think what she did impact and did make a difference. And now it's about playing that forward and keeping it going, you know. And in that way, we honor her memory. And in that way, she didn't die in vain.
Yeah, and she passed on a day that she was supposed to give a talk at a school in Johannesburg. How can we, as the public, the great of South Africa, keep her hopes and dreams alive?
So you can do so by supporting the Reeva Rebecca Steenkamp Foundation, because the work they do is the work Reeva was doing, and so they keeping her legacy alive that way. And one of the things they do, they actually do two things. So one is the Reeva Girl, which is a bursary they offer once a year to a girl child studying law, specifically family law. So you can help with that. And the other one is the Reeva Pack. Now the Reeva Pack is like a one-stop domestic violence education pack, okay? So you can buy that through the Reeva Rebecca Steenkamp Foundation website, and it basically is an entire pack, education pack that has tools and skills for victims of domestic violence to get out of their situation and educate and empower themselves.
How is femicide different from any other form of abuse?
You know, I think it's a sad reality that women are, I suppose, seen as the weaker sex and so targeted as such. I think it is just the latest form of abuse, but I think there has been abuse going on forever. This is just like the latest form it's taken. And it's really sad, because I think at the end of the day, women are mothers of the generation. You know, without women, our country doesn't go on, you know. And I think there's so much divide, and that needs to stop, you know. And again, I think it comes down to education, it comes down to having compassion for one another, communication, understanding one another, you know, and really coming together, because we have such a beautiful, diverse country. But I think when we come together for a single purpose and goal, we achieve greatness. And our Springbok rugby team taught us that by winning the World Cup, you know what I mean? So I think it's about putting aside our differences for the greater good of our country.
Natasha, most women die in the hands of the people that they trust. Are there tell signs, something that one should look out for and notice that, trouble is booming, it's coming its way, and I need to get out of here? And how do they do that?
Okay, so, you know, apart from this, I'm also an ambassador for mental health, and I state that because I think the two go hand in hand. A lot of abuse and violence comes from maybe mental instability, emotional instability, people's backgrounds, again, like I said, lack of education. With regards to women in abusive situations, a lot of the time they're too afraid to leave, because they think if they leave they'll be killed, or this person will find them and kill them. Or they convince themselves that it's normal because it's all they've ever known, you know, and better the devil you know than the one you don't. But I think it starts with learning your self-worth and loving yourself, because when we truly love ourselves and know our self-worth, we won't put up with anything we don't deserve, you know, which sounds amazing, but it's easier said than done. And a lot of women come from situations where they wouldn't know their self-worth, you know, or know how to love themselves without help and guidance. And luckily, there are organizations and resources available to women in these situations to get out of those situations, should they have the courage to ask for the help they need. You know, it's there to help them. And I think it's really important to be brave enough to give yourself that fighting chance and take that stand and say, I need help, you know, please help me so that I can change my life and help others change theirs too. So, because I think the other thing is, if you're in that situation and you are brave enough to get out of it, you in turn can be a role model for others. Because you can tell them, I was there, but I got out of there and this is what I did. So you can too. Just trust me and do what I did, you know?
Speaking of organizations, one of them, it's the Reeva Rebecca Steenkamp Foundation. And after the break, I would love to know, how does their foundation empower women? And after that, we need to touch on the fun run that is going to be happening towards the end of the month. You can call us on 021-448-0448 or email openstudio@capetowntv.org if there is a topic that you want us to tackle on. Keep on right here on Cape Town TV. We return after this quick commercial break. On the 29th of February, at the Castle of Good Hope right here in Cape Town, there's going to be a fun run. And if you can't run, don't you worry, you can walk as well. It's a family day. Everybody can participate. It will be happening between the hours of 10 in the morning till 12 in the afternoon. So make sure that you head on there and support this wonderful initiative. It's the Reeva Rebecca Steenkamp Foundation. Natasha King is here to tell us more about it. Natasha, before we went to the break, I wanted to find out, how does the foundation help empower women?
So like I was saying previously, the way they empower women is through education, and also they provide women with skills to self-development, and also to learn their self-worth, and to realize they have the right to safe environment. And provide them the necessary skills to empower themselves to get out of those environments. Furthermore than that, they're very much about education, because that is the key to breaking the cycle of violence and abuse, and promoting awareness around these issues so that we can resolve them. And so they provide bursaries, once a year, to one girl child studying law, specifically family law. And so that's how they empower ladies, and I guess also through the people that come on board with them that can empower women, by being examples and role models to women.
I'm familiar with the foundation since it started by June Berry, but now there's the Reeva Pack. Is it something different? If it is, what is it about, and what is its purpose?
So the Reeva Pack is, you can actually purchase it on the foundation's website, which I think is www.reevarebeccafoundation.org. Reeva Rebecca Steenkamp Foundation.org. And like I said earlier, it is a one-stop domestic violence pack. So it's an educational pack for victims of domestic violence, and it provides them the education and skills they need to get out of that situation and empower themselves. And
you can gift somebody who you deem is a victim as well?
Yes, so if you are yourself and you need it, you can purchase it, or if you know someone struggling in this kind of area, or in this particular situation, then you can purchase it for them.
Yeah.
And so it's another way of empowering women and playing it forward, and I think it's a beautiful way we can make a difference.
Yeah. So what's happening on the 29th of February? I'm excited.
I am too. I hope everyone is. So on the 29th of February, and the reason I put it on the 29th of February is because this year it's a leap year.
Yes.
And so that's like a very special occasion, because it only happens once every 4 years. And at the same time, it was nice to have it in Feb, because Feb is the month Reeva was shot and killed. Yeah. So it does mark, this Friday actually marks the 7th anniversary of her death. So it was important to me to have it in February, and the 29th, like I said, leap year. So we have an historical fun run, walk and family day. Yeah. Okay. So the reason, so it's a fun run walk is, it's not a race. I don't want people to race and fall on their face.
Competition.
No, because the castle grounds are uneven, so I don't want people face planting on the ground. So it's more, think a light jog, walk, and family day, nice chilled family day. So you can bring the kids, you can bring your partners, you can bring your friends, you can come by yourself if you want. Just all come, And what's going to happen is it's $250 per person. Yeah. Well, per adult, and then $150 per child. And the tickets include your registration and entry into the fun run, a free cool drink, and all official castle tours for the day, as well as
Yes.
entry into our lucky draw, and our sponsors have given us amazing prizes that can be won on the day.
Wow.
So I'm going to keep that quiet until the day because people must come. And then apart from that, you know, we're saying everyone should arrive at 9:30 for registration because we want to start the event 10 o'clock on the dot. And then it will be a race around the grounds, a specific route around the grounds of the castle, and it passes two very specific locations that are really important in the castle. I think the one is a statue of a woman. It's actually a man, because back then women weren't allowed to be seen or heard or whatever. So it's a man in a dress to represent women, which I think is quite interesting considering this is in aid of the Reeva Rebecca Steenkamp Foundation. And the proceeds of the event will be going to the Reeva Rebecca Steenkamp Foundation, so that they can continue doing the amazing work they're doing, keeping her legacy alive, which I'm all for and more than happy and grateful to be part of, you know. And what has been nice is a lot of women have contacted me saying they're on board because we all do need to keep her legacy alive, you know. So yeah, that'll be Saturday the 29th of Feb. It's soon, it's like around the corner. So yeah, if we can pack out the Castle of Good Hope, why not? Let's do it, you know.
It's all going to be fun and stuff, but I want to find out what do you wish for the families that and friends that will be attending take away from the day?
So what I want them to take away from the day, firstly, I want them to just enjoy the castle because I think it's a monumental treasure we have here in Cape Town. And since they have the castle for the day, even when the event's over, because the event's only 2 hours, and then they still have access to all the castle tours. And so make the most of it. Have a nice, chilled family day, you know. It will be fun for the kids. It will be fun for everyone. It will be nice and relaxing. And then aside from that, I want them to go home with more knowledge about the Reeva Rebecca Steenkamp Foundation and what they do and how they can get involved and help me help them, basically, you know, because I think it takes a village.
Yeah. One more time, how do people get in contact with you and the foundation so that they're able to purchase those tickets or maybe be part of the foundation?
Okay, so in order to make a donation or purchase tickets for the event, I have a web ticket link app it's on Facebook, on my Facebook, and also on my Instagram. So my Instagram is @tashking_SA and Facebook is Natasha King Styles. The event is on the social media platforms, and there is the web tickets link that they can click on to purchase their tickets or to make a donation of $250. Another way they can contact me is on my number, which is 072-7979-536.
Yes, and of course those details will be up on our page, which is Open Studio on Cape Town TV on Facebook, or you can call us on 021-448-0448. Thank you for tuning to Open Studio. If you just joined us, well, tough luck because you came at the wrong time. It's about to shut down. Otherwise, the repeat of the show is tomorrow morning between 9 and 9:30. In her words, it takes a village, so please do go and participate. It has been nice keeping you company. My name is Lamamoon. I'll see you next time when we open the studio.